Hello and welcome to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. We got a bang-up show for you lined up. We're going to be talking about Israel versus Hezbollah versus the Biden White House and the Harris campaign with Josh Hammer. Also, we're going to have Dr. Ingrid Skop on to talk about the left-wing radical abortion ideas, and we'll be talking about the hurricanes. I'm in Florida. And so we'll be talking about the hurricanes, the reaction to that, Kamala Harris versus Ron DeSantis, President Trump, so on in the campaign. So much to get to tonight. First, I want to go to my guest, Josh Hammer. He's senior editor at large for Newsweek. Josh, this has been a crazy day, but thank you for joining us. I appreciate you coming on the program.
Carl, from one Floridian to another, it is definitely crazy times that we are living in, but it's always good to join you.
Oh, man. Well, I pray that you stay safe. This show is going to be airing for those of you that are watching this program. We're airing this or taping this early because both Josh and I are going to be enduring Hurricane Milton. So we have that to look forward to. And unfortunately, there are many Americans that have already endured Hurricane Helene and are still under dire circumstances as that situation is just absolutely horrible. So please keep them in your prayers. Please keep us in your prayers as well. But the reason that I have Josh on, and again, Josh is the senior editor at large at Newsweek. Josh, real quick, where can people find you on X?
Yeah, so I'm at Josh_Hammer on X. My Instagram as well is Josh B. Hammer.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I mean, what's been happening with Israel and first Hamas fighting Hamas in Gaza, now what Israel Netanyahu under his leadership has been doing with Hezbollah I have to tell you, Josh, has been absolutely inspiring. I love it. Everything from the walkie-talkies to the pagers. I know this sounds sick and morbid, Josh. I'm not gonna lie. I am kind of what's the word? I'm pretty weak. I'm not gonna lie when it comes to watching videos like that. Is it sick that I watched those and got sheer pleasure out of it?
No, Carl. And actually, on the contrary, it means that you have a functioning moral compass. Is what it means here. I mean, we're not talking here. So just sticking with the beeper operation, where roughly 5,000 Hezbollah operatives, militants, jihadists had exploding pagers that caused severe damage. I mean, the actual death toll, I believe, was only around 12 out of 5,000. So most were just crippled. Many became eunuchs, I guess you might say, given where a beeper typically is held and where it explodes. But these are bad dudes. I mean, President Trump would call these people bad hombres. Hezbollah is one of the world's most notorious and nefarious jihadist organizations. They have great American blood on their hands as well. I might add, Hezbollah was instrumental in the Beirut barracks bombing that killed 241 U.S. Marines all the way back in 1983. There was actually also a Hezbollah-orchestrated bomb at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut that same year. For decades and decades, Hezbollah has been trying to kill not merely Israelis, but Americans, Europeans. They blew up a Jewish center in Argentina back in 94. They are very much the tip of the spear of the Iranian ring of terror. They are the terrorist Iranian regime's foremost proxy group. And the fact that you are celebrating this, I think, means that you have some good old-fashioned common sense. Look, I'm Jewish myself. I mean, who are we if we are not going to represent some good old-fashioned Old Testament justice? Eye for an eye and that sort of thing as well. So there's a lot of blood on the hands of Hezbollah, on Hamas there. And, frankly, Mossad needed this. The Israeli intelligence and security apparatus really needed that kind of victory, really needed to take out Hassan Nasrallah just to reestablish deterrence and to try to regain the credibility that the Israeli military and security services had for so long, but tragically was lost on October 7th.
Are you satisfied at this point with Netanyahu's leadership during basically, I look at this as a war for the West, Josh. I know there's a lot of people that might disagree with me, but that's the way that I feel. I look at and honestly, I do believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe in order to understand the relationship between Israel and the United States, in order to understand the relationship between Christians and Jews, you have to be spiritually minded. And quite frankly, even if you're trying to understand Islamic terrorists, I think you have to be spiritually minded. And frankly, I don't think there are a lot of people on the left and the right as well that understand that. I mean, we're the great Satan. Israel is the little Satan. And I think that we need to look at an attack on Israel as an attack against the West. Am I wrong?
Carl, my friend, you are going to love my forthcoming book, which God willing will be due out in March. It's called Israel and Civilization: The Fate of the Jewish Nation and the Destiny of the West. I touch on everything you just said. That is basically the entire book. I basically argue that Western civilization begins at Mount Sinai with God's revelation to Moses and the ancient Israelites. You know, today when we refer to the West and Western civilization, there was a lot of naivete. There was a lot of cluelessness as to what these terms actually mean. To me, it's fairly simple. When we mean the West, we're talking about the broader biblical Judeo-Christian inheritance. Leo Strauss famously said that it's this combination of revelation and reason, it's a combination of Jerusalem and Athens. We hold that aside for now, but the one thing that we all agree is that the very core of the West is the Bible, is Scripture, and frankly is the two peoples of the book, the Jews and the Christians alike. And in the book, I basically argue that the Jewish people, not just the modern state of Israel, but the nation of Israel, the people of Israel, what in Hebrew we would say, Am Yisrael, Kol Yisrael, has been indispensable in the formation and development of the West, going back literally all the way as far back as Mount Sinai itself. And ultimately, Carl, I don't think that Western civilization, as we conceive it, is going to survive unless Jews and Christians can unite to ward off our mutual civilizational enemies. And that's frankly, I'm giving away a little bit too much here, but that's basically the concluding chapter of my book is calling for a Jewish-Christian alliance to save the West from the three hegemonic forces that I think seek to destroy us, which in my estimation are in no particular order: global neoliberalism, Islamism, and wokeism. So yes, this is absolutely a battle for the heart and soul of the West. Israel is essentially the battleground in the civilizational clash. It stands at the crossroads between the West on the one hand and the forces of Islamist barbarism on the other hand. But they're also in the crosshairs of the wokerati as well. We all know that. Everyone who follows these debates knows that the wokesters can't stand Israel. And the reason they can't stand Israel, as you alluded to, is because Israel is just a proxy for the West. So George Gilder, I believe it was, wrote a book years ago called The Israel Test. If you pass it, then you support the West. If you fail it, then you fail the West, because the Jewish people and the contemporary modern Jewish state are here, there, and everywhere a proxy for something much, much broader than that. It is no accident that the people who want to tear down and destroy Israel and see it burn to the ground are the exact same people who want to see America burn to the ground. The Iranian regime is a perfect example. They chant not merely death to Israel, but death to America. It's the whole little Satan, big Satan thing. The people on Columbia University's campuses, these other Ivy League campuses, they want to see America burn down too. It's not just Israel they want to see burn down. So, we're in this together, whether or not any individual particularly wants to. I do want to personally, but I'm just saying whether you want to doesn't really matter. The point is that America and Israel very much are attached at the hip. I view that as a beautiful thing, but at a bare minimum, that is kind of just the empirical reality of the situation.
You mentioned the word alliance, and I'm going to find the video, and Josh is going to be with us for a couple of segments. We just have 2 minutes left in this block here, Josh. Yesterday, Kamala Harris went on an interview with 60 Minutes. I forget the interviewer's name, so forgive me for that. But basically, he talked about America's relationship, or her relationship with Netanyahu, if I recall correctly. And he spoke of Israel as an ally, and Netanyahu basically not doing what Kamala Harris says, as if she's the prime minister of Israel. So I really didn't get that question. But what she did say, she did not call Israel or Netanyahu an ally, but she spoke of an alliance. Did that take you by surprise? I mean, that was stunning to me.
So the left and Democrats are trying to have their cake and eat it too on this particular issue. Now, part of it is just the fact that they have this bizarre intersectional coalition, this post-Barack Obama coalition of aggrieved interest groups, and Muslims have become a very large part of that group. And they have to win Michigan. So they're basically trying to appease their Jewish voters, Jewish donors, while simultaneously trying to appease the Hamasniks in Dearborn, Michigan, frankly, who will never actually be appeased. And that's why they're trying to speak out of both sides of their mouth. And the line that they have towed for basically a year now when you listen carefully to what folks like Bernie Sanders and Liz Warren are saying, is they will mouth off some sort of platitude about Israel having a right to defend itself, but oh no, we don't support the right-wing Netanyahu government. That's usually what they say. So that's what Kamala Harris is trying to do here. The problem is that Benjamin Netanyahu speaks for the Israeli people. So, I mean, when you look at Benjamin Netanyahu's two pronounced war aims on the war in Gaza, there are two war aims. One, return the hostages. Two, eradicate Hamas as a governing and military organization. The Israeli people support that upwards of 80 to 85%.
Wow.
So Netanyahu speaks for the Israeli people. So this attempt to have their cake and eat it too, which Kamala Harris is doing here, it doesn't actually work. You kind of have to be an idiot to believe that, frankly.
All right. Well, she definitely does have that down at least. So I'm speaking to my guest, Josh Hammer. He's the editor at large of Newsweek. We'll be back with more after the break. Make sure you subscribe to the show wherever you go to get your show, The Carl Jackson Show, or subscribe. A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you can get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets better. For a limited time, they're offering their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. So get their queen size MyPillows for just $18.88, or upgrade to a king for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, or call 800-858-0263 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever. On top of that, receive free shipping on orders over $75. They have never been offered this low before. There are limited quantities at this price, so the limit is $10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-858-0263 and use promo code Carl to get standard MyPillow. Get the standard MyPillow, for only $14.88. That's the lowest price ever, guys. Don't delay. MyPillow.com, promo code Carl. All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, I'm joined by my guest, Josh Hammer. He's the senior editor at large for Newsweek. Josh, let me play this video clip for you, and let me get your reaction to it. This is President Trump. This is video clip number 4, Gabe. He says, here's my commitment to you on this solemn day. I will not allow the Jewish state to be threatened with destruction. Let's go ahead and roll it, Gabe.
To be threatened with destruction. I will not allow another Holocaust of the Jewish people. I will not allow a jihad to be waged on America or our allies. And I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror, and it has to win it fast. No matter what happens, it has to go fast.
Josh, those are pretty strong words. And obviously, October 7th, yesterday, I hate even using the word anniversary, such a horrendous occasion. But this is President Trump offering some serious words and some serious encouragement to Israel and to the Jewish people.
So, Carl, I told you this off camera, but I was actually there last night. I was there in the audience at Trump National Doral to hear the president speak. It was a beautiful event. They did a great job with it. The campaign did. Just really soup to nuts. There were all these posters of the hostages. There was actually an empty chair for every hostage who has not yet been returned. There was actually a poster for every individual who was slaughtered, all 1,200. They were adorning the room behind the stage before them. It was very emotional. I mean, so we're currently in the holiest time of the Jewish calendar. We just had our New Year, Rosh Hashanah, just this past weekend. And the single most solemn day of our entire year is actually this Friday night to Saturday night, Yom Kippur. So this is called the 10 Days of Repentance. And as part of that, there is a symbol of the shofar where you blow the ram's horn. They had a rabbi go up there and do that. We actually also prayed the mourner's Kaddish, which is the traditional prayer for the dead. Everyone did it together in the audience. It was really tear-jerking stuff, actually. And then President Trump gets up there and he speaks beautifully. He delivered powerful remarks. He was clear. He was morally, strategically, politically unambiguous. And he said everything that he should have said and then some. I mean, he said that he will never allow this to happen to Israel again. He said that he will never allow this to happen to the Jewish people again. He said that if he were president, then October 7th never would have happened, which I think is probably almost assuredly just true.
Sure.
And it was just a very, very